eventually you went on to play with Bob Dylan. How did that transpire?
I was still playing with this oneness at the time. It was around the 75, I think, was when we put out an album, this oneness called Surprise. And I was working with another guy, Kevin Odegaard, locally here, and his manager was David Zimmerman, who is Bob's brother. And Bob had recorded the album in the fall in New York with Eric Weisberg and Deliverance. And there was some cuts he wasn't happy with, and he recut them in Nashville with, what's his name, Cage, and, you know, the hot Nashville cats. He still wasn't happy, and this was right around getting to be Christmas time. The label was screaming for the record so they could get it under the Christmas tree. And he wasn't happy, and his brother suggested, he said, well, Bob, why don't you're coming home for Christmas, why don't you record some stuff here? We've got a really good studio. Sound 80 was up and running, and Cat Stevens had just recorded Tea for the Tillerman here, and Leo Kottke had done some things here. So he said, okay. They brought in the studio rhythm section, which was Bill Berg and Billy Peterson, both really good, not only good jazz players, but good all-around players. I had a moment recording the first day that probably helped set the tone for me recording the rest of my life. We had just done the Jack of Hearts, Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts from Blood on the Tracks. And I'm sitting in the studio watching Bob and Bill Berg, the drummer, and they're over by the studio monitor, and Bill is explaining to Bob that he could either go dooba-dabba-dooba-dabba-dooba-da or dabba-dooba-dabba-dooba-dabba-doo. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, this is Bill Berg. I mean, he played in a jazz group here in town. He and Billy called Natural Life, and they were like, you know, they were the real stuff, you know.
Yeah.
They were the jazz cats. And I saw Bill as this giant reservoir with a little spigot at the end, and he just gave the spigot to Bob and said, turn on as much or as little as you like. And it helped set the tone for me for any session I've ever done. Whoever the producer or the writer is, whoever's responsible, I want them to be happy. It's not about whether I sound good. I would rather have people say, wow, what a great session, or what a great song, or what a great commercial, rather than what a crappy song, but boy, listen to that keyboard player.
Yeah.
That just didn't suit me. So anyway, we did a couple of songs on the Friday and got a call on Sunday that he liked them and he wanted to do some more. So we went back in on Monday and did 3 more songs. We ended up doing 5 songs total, and he used all 5 of them on the record. So 5 out of 10 songs were the Minneapolis musicians.
Wow, what a great story. Did he give you any personal feedback on any of your playing?
No, well, except for one thing. I was playing piano on a song, and I ended a phrase with, you know, what we call a third in the bass. I don't know what your musical knowledge is, but you play a third in the bass rather than the root. And I ended up, I think it was You're a Big Girl Now. And he said, hey, what's that said? And I said, I just got a third in the bass. He said, yeah, I like that. Keep that in.
That's great. Any other stories from that recording experience?
He was a little distant. He had a cold. He just kind of sat there. At one point, he wrote the chords for Tangled Up and blew down on the margin of a newspaper and threw it on the organ and said, here's the chords for the next song.
Oh, wow.
And then Kevin suggested, it wasn't going well, so Kevin suggested we move it from G to A, which is where the song ended up. And Bob liked it better, and everything went smoother. So I rewrote the chords right next to Bob's on this piece of newspaper that I gave to a friend of mine. She had it framed.
Oh, nice. That's great. Music Life Radio.